this video is going to be a longer video, and I'm making this video to address a couple things on my channel that have been bothering me, talk about critics, things like that. And we're just going to call this a critics discussion video. So here's some things you need to know about me. I do consider myself a critic, but I'm not paid. I don't get paid by websites to review movies, right? I'm not a journalist. I'm not anything. I'm just a person who is very critical of movies in a positive and negative sense. I have my fair share of positive reviews on this channel, and I have my fair share of negative reviews. I would say, actually, I do have more positive reviews. It didn't start out that way. I was a very negative person when I started out. And over the years, I'm kind of loosened up a little bit. But that's just because I would say it's been, the older I get, I'm just able to see more films. And so the more films I see, I end up liking more films. Just for the simple fact of, like, the films that I think are really good. Like, probably a couple years ago, I wasn't allowed to watch because of the ratings, things like that when I was younger, right? I'm not going to go too much into that. But, I'm just saying, like, I am not a paid critic. However, I do think common trends with critics lately that I want to address. The first one that's really bothering me is the idea that there's this divide with audiences and critics. And I do think to an extent there is. I think it's over-dramatized. And I think it's over-dramatized not by critics, by audience members. For example, when Venom, the first Venom came out a couple years ago, there was a lot of people arguing over the fact that, there was this huge audience score that was really high for Venom, and a terrible low score for Venom. And people couldn't understand why. And the simple fact was Venom was a terrible movie. Right? But it's a fun movie. And that's the thing. People need to understand. I think here's the thing. There's two things that come from the big critics and audience score divide. First of all, critics want to see art. They want to see well-made, good movies. The other thing you need to understand is we watch more movies than you. Okay? Even me, who's not paid, right? I see about 3 to 5 new movies a week. I watch tons and tons of older movies, right? Most critics do too. So, like, for example, I could watch a film like, what's a good example? The new Paranormal Activity movie. And notice things that normal people would never notice because they just don't watch enough movies to notice it. You know what I mean? Like, I watch so many movies that I can notice things that you don't. When a critic complains a movie's cliche or generic, it may not be an issue for you if you don't watch that many movies. And so I think there's a divide in that sense where we just watch more movies. Also, we're more educated just for the simple fact, A, we watch more movies. And, I'm not trying to be all pompous and, be all snobby like, I'm more educated than you. But I actually am, right? Because I watch all these films, watch all these movies that, I talk to friends of mine and other people, and they're like, never heard of it, didn't watch it, don't really have any interest in it, right? But they don't know about it because they're not in that culture. And, that's fine. No one needs to be. No one has to be. But, that's part of the fun of being critic, is making people aware of films that they maybe not be aware of and might want to go see, films that might interest them, give them an idea of, hey, is this a film that you want to watch? You know what I mean? But, what we need to understand about being a critic is we are more educated. And I don't mean that to be like a snobbish jackass, be like, oh, I'm more educated. I just mean that to say we are more educated about certain things. The other thing I want to address is the idea that you can't change your opinion as a critic. A lot of this has to do with the critic's audience, right? They don't like the idea of a critic going back on the rating or something they say. For example, me, I posted a review of The Last Duel. Now, I had my issues with it. For the most part, I liked the movie, right? But as the movie sat with me, my opinion has changed and I've grown to like the movie more. Simple as that. That is what happened. And now I want to go and change that review. I'm not going to, because I want that documentation there, right? Of me going out of the movie. This is what my thought, right? Process. And, you know, part of this channel, too, I do need to note, it's called Chan's Movie Vlog Channel. Like, some people say, well, you should edit your videos, blah, blah, blah. Really, realistically, no. This channel is called Chan's Movie Vlog Channel because I vlog right after a movie. Most of my reviews are hours or just a few minutes after I get out of a movie, right? I come home, and then 30 minutes later, I have a review for the same movie I just got out of like 30 minutes ago. You know what I mean? This is a vlog channel. That's what this is. Now, I do review movies, but I'm not reviewing them like professionally. I'm not getting paid, you know what I mean? But going back to what I was saying, there is an importance to changing your opinion. I think a lot of people hate changing their opinion, but the simple fact is you can grow to understand or appreciate things more. There are things that you may not realize the first viewing. My favorite movies, to hell with it. I would never completely fully get within the first viewing. There's so much things to dive deeper into with so many movies. There's just so much to unpack with certain movies. So it is okay to change your opinion. You shouldn't be afraid of that. I know that you might get audience backlash, but screw it. You cannot help it. We are humans. Also, let's just be real. Some critics make mistakes. Some critics watch certain films and they just don't get it. Because at the end of the day, we're not robots reviewing these movies. We're people. I do try to review movies objectively as possible, and people go, well, you can't really do that. I think you can, right? Because there are lots of reasons I can give you to show you how an actor's performance is done well, right? Compared to a movie where it's not done well, and show you how, like, factually their performance wasn't bad. That doesn't mean someone couldn't like that performance. It just means that, like, there is proof and evidence to show you why it's not bad. Like, there is a science to making movies. I mean, not a complete science, right? But there is kind of a science. So there is some level of objectivity, but there is also a lot of subjectivity to it. So there's a science to it, but there's also not at the same time, right? And so that's kind of my thing and my stance on that. And so I think that, you know, we're not machines reviewing these things. We are people. And as people, we are prone to, you know, sometimes missing things, making mistakes, underrepresenting things, right? Because there's a great quote from one of my favorite movies of all time, Ratatouille, where Ego changes his opinion, which again is something critics are, you know, very afraid to do. He changes his opinion after eating at Gusteau's at the end of the movie, and he writes this review, and he says, he talks about how critics make the average piece of junk seem so horrible, but we're underestimating credit, or something like that. I forget the exact quote, but we don't give things the credit they deserve, and that's true, because what we need to understand about these projects and these things is that a movie has hundreds to thousands of people we don't even think about, people who aren't even credited in the credits. Think about that. All those names you see credited in the credits, that's not even everybody that worked on the movie. You know what I mean? And when, you think about that, and I'm coming out here saying it's the worst movie I've seen all year, blah, blah, I'm being hyperbolic. I'm being exaggerated. Part of it is for the camera, We all do this. Let's not deny it. And so, But we forget that when I say a movie feels like no one tried, keep in mind that word be feels, because of course every bad movie, at least someone tried. Someone tried. It's not, doesn't mean it worked. Doesn't mean I should give it a pass because someone tried. But it is true that sometimes the average piece of trash movie, right, is better than we give it credit for, and it's a hard thing to kind of think about and justify in your head, but it's true, and that's one of the things that's very important about me being a movie critic, and I think that's one thing we do need to understand as critics. We act too pompous. We do. We get joy out of tearing bad movies apart. I mean, that's even something the critic at the end of Ratatouille says. He gets joy out of it. He does. He's smiling. Everyone talks about ego as a scary figure in that movie, but he's smiling the whole movie. He's smiling because he gets joy out of what he's doing. He enjoys tearing things apart. And that's true, we do. I mean, I enjoy watching bad movies, coming home, talking about them, making a little video about it. I do it. I mean, I enjoy talking about good movies too. In fact, I would say I enjoy watching good movies more, but there is a fun to watching bad movies and doing that, So we just need to, calm down a little bit, and I think all of us as critics need to be less aggressive. Here's another thing, though, I do want to know. I do not like this recent thing of being nicer to movies because we're in a pandemic, right? People are we're living in a time where it's unprecedented times. People are depressed. But they're trying to give more movies a pass because it made them feel good. And I just don't like that idea. I'm sorry, but if a film's bad, treat it like it's bad. And that's one of the things that I need to reiterate with that. I don't give movies a pass when they don't deserve it. That's just my thing. But I think it's okay, but whatever. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Let me know what you guys have been thinking about critics and things like this. This is just kind of a little discussion video. Kind of wanted to open up about some feelings I've had, some frustrations, concerns I've had about, what's going on with critics. I hope to, maybe make more videos like this, but, I don't know if I can. It's just because this was off the cuff. This was some thoughts I had. Didn't write any of this down, all that.